Hi everyone, Dan here. I wanted to make a quick video about tips to find the right doctor and then questions to ask at your doctor's appointment, especially in regards to medications. I was thinking how I normally utilize technology to find most things these days, so I was trying to find the tools that would be helpful in finding the right doctor. It seems like the Rate My Doctor type of websites are still a little unreliable at this point. Anyone can log in and leave a review for a doctor. So I've noticed that certain specialties like plastic surgeons have a ton of reviews, whereas other doctors don't really have all that many reviews. So I'm kind of unsure how to judge those websites at this point. So I was thinking about how the best way to find a doctor is at this point. It seems like it's kind of old fashioned to a degree. Word of mouth is a great initial resource to help you narrow it down. And then in the United States, insurance plays a big role. So you might want to call your insurance provider and see what local doctors are covered. I also found this tool called the US News Find a Doctor. And this provides just basic information about your doctor, how many years of experience the doctor has, where they went to school, if they have any board certifications or special certifications in that regard. So that's a good initial resource. Once you call your insurance, hear some word of mouth, you can use that tool to narrow it down. An additional website that I like is called Dollars for Docs. It's by ProPublica. And what this website does is track the amount of money that physicians are receiving from pharmaceutical companies. So it's pretty interesting to go on there and see if maybe a physician that you're considering seeing has accepted a ton of money from a drug company that potentially could bias their prescribing. So you might want to pay attention to that. And then there's also a government website that tracks the payments that physicians receive from pharmaceutical companies, and it's called openpaymentsdata.cms.gov, and I'll put a link to all that below. But these websites are great to see how much money the physicians are receiving from pharmaceutical companies. It seems like some physicians receive quite a bit. On the front page of the Dollars for Docs in 2016, the leading doctor was receiving somewhere in around $60 million that year. Actually, I think it was $60 million total over a span of 3 years, but still, it's a lot of money. So those tools can potentially help you narrow down a doctor. So word of mouth, US News Find a Doctor to credential, and then look at Dollars for Docs or the open payments data to see how much money that physician's receiving from pharmaceutical companies, if that's something that's important to you. Next, I wanted to go through questions that are important to ask about medications. So if a doctor is thinking about prescribing a medication to you for a condition, then these are some questions that I think are pretty reasonable to ask in almost all the cases. So first is, can you review what to expect and the side effects? So basically you're asking, what am I using this for? What will this help me with? And what are the side effects that I may experience? So some medications, for example, like blood pressure decreasing medications, what to expect might be not all that much. You might not feel your blood pressure lowering unless if you have extremely high blood pressure, or you may. So what to expect might not be all that much in some cases. Side effects are extremely important in all medication additions. So you want to know if you are going to say a medication has a side effect of fatigue and you're a really fatigued and tired person already, then that might not be the best medication choice for you. And while you're there at the actual doctor's appointment, it's the easiest to express these concerns because then that can be changed right on the spot to maybe a different treatment. Next, I think it's good to ask, are there ways to treat this without medication? So a lot of disease states have treatments available that aren't prescription medications. An example that I think about is hypnotic sleep medications. So a lot of people come in and are having trouble sleeping. but there's non-pharmacological treatments for insomnia like sleep hygiene. There's a specific type of therapy developed for insomnia, and there's some other methods as well, rather than going right to a hypnotic medication. A third good question to ask is this treatment first line? So what you're asking is this the standard treatment for the disease state? And it might not always be. The doc might say, no, this is second line, but I don't want to choose the first line options for A, B, and C. And then the second line might be okay. But you want to see where this falls into the standard of therapy and see if it's not first line, why is a second line or third line option being chosen? Fourth question is, how expensive is this medication? There's no shame in asking that question because some prescription medications are ludicrously priced that no one would be able to afford. A good resource here is a website called goodrx.com. What this website has is cash prices. If you don't have insurance and you want to look at the cash price, it also has coupons to help you afford the medications. And then it also compares the prices at different stores. So you can see where your local pharmacies rank in pricing of the medication. So it's really helpful on that end. Even if you have prescription insurance, sometimes it's good to check goodrx.com to get a ballpark of if the medication is really expensive or not. The final question I think is good to ask in regards to prescription medications is, does this medication normally require a prior authorization? So this goes along with, is the medication expensive? If it is expensive, many insurance providers will not pay for the filling of that medication right away. They want to reach out to your doctor and see why this expensive medication is being chosen. And the reason I bring this up to ask is that it can save you a trip to the pharmacy. So if you get a prescription that requires a prior authorization and you leave your doctor's office that day, take it to the pharmacy, they're most likely not going to be able to receive the payment from the insurance company, and it normally takes a couple of days. So if you're aware that this medication normally requires a prior authorization, you can call the pharmacy first and see if the medication is ready, or ask them how many days it's going to take to be ready. So it just is a good question to save you a potential trip. So I think that's pretty much all I had to bring up at this point. The resources, again, are the US News Find a Doctor, and that can help you find doctor demographics. Then the pharmaceutical payments that the doctors are receiving can be checked at the Open Payments Data or Dollars for Docs. And then a good resource for medications is goodrx.com, where you can look at cash prices, coupons, and compare prices at different stores. So I hope that video was helpful. Have a good day.